You are not welcome here. You are not welcome in New South Wales.
Action against right-wing extremists. The Premier and PM vow a crackdown on hate. A man disappears at a popular waterfall and a young girl pulled from the wave pool at Raging Waters. Pay up. Donald Trump hit with a $125 million damages bill. How much money does it take to be number one? Plus, we're live to Melbourne Park as the Australian Open finals kick off.
This is 9 News with Jayne Azzopardi.
Good evening. Idiots who tried to destroy Australia Day. That's what our Premier is calling a group of far-right extremists. Tonight, Anthony Albanese has joined the condemnation too, saying the behaviour has no place in this country, as calls grow for stronger laws to crack down on hate.
Marching with their banner of hate and our Australian flag.
It has no place, and it is rightly being condemned by all decent people.
If it wasn't so menacing, it would be completely ridiculous.
It brought a swift response from New South Wales Police. More than 60 far-right extremists stopped from hijacking Australia Day. Today, police and the nation's security service on alert for what is a growing threat.
And we have seen a rise in neo-Nazi activity, on extreme right-wing activity. The Director General of ASIO has been warning of this for some time.
We are open to strengthening the laws, particularly in relation to white power salutes.
The masked man made it just 4 stops from Artarmon when police slowed the train, giving the riot squad time to intercept the group at North Sydney.
Their anonymity is a weapon that they use. I think most people would ask why. Why do you need to be anonymous?
And yesterday they were exposed, forced to remove their face coverings, fined for offensive behaviour and ordered to stay away from the city and public events.
A lot of the organisers are interstate, effectively importing their hate into New South Wales.
Including neo-Nazi Thomas Sewell, who in 2021 attacked a Channel 9 security guard in Melbourne, flying in from Victoria, where the group last year managed to march on the steps of Parliament. Senior police knew for weeks that the group was planning an Australia Day protest, and they were ready. 6 men were arrested and brought here to Chatswood Police Station, where they were fined, then released. But the investigation isn't over.
I say to these people, quite frankly, have a good look at yourself. There is nothing to be got in this country through hatred.
Annalise Bolt, 9 News.
A desperate search is still playing out at Dangar Falls in Dorrigo near Coffs Harbour, where a man went missing after diving into the water. Police and the State Emergency Service were alerted just after midday when he failed to resurface. Paramedics are also there. A young girl has been rescued from the wave pool at Raging Waters in Prospect after she was spotted struggling with another child. She was treated by a bystander and lifeguards around midday before paramedics arrived and took her to the Children's Hospital at Westmead. The wave pool has since been shut. Donald Trump has been ordered to pay more than $120 million to a woman he defamed. Jayne branded the win a victory for women, while Trump blasted the jury and vowed to appeal.
Jayne has millions of reasons to smile. The writer, called a liar by Donald Trump, handed a massive win against a man who abused her. The former president ordered to pay almost $127 million for defaming her while he was commander-in-chief. Tonight, she says it's a huge defeat for every bully who has tried to keep a woman down. In court, Donald Trump stormed out briefly, returning, then leaving altogether before the verdict was read out.
President Trump is leading in the polls, and now we see what you get in New York.
The former president scolded the jury's decision as absolutely ridiculous, saying he'll appeal.
And I assure you, we didn't win today, but we will win.
The enormous sum is on top of last year's jury decision. Donald Trump should pay Miss Carroll $7 million for sexually abusing and defaming her.
I mean, what other person thinks they can just openly break the law over and over and over again? Donald Trump.
The damages win for Jayne is a financial blow for Donald Trump. The former president's courtroom challenges, though, in this presidential election year are far from over. He faces 4 criminal trials and a possible ban on doing business in New York. Ms. Hubbard, is the former president scared now of the consequences of his actions?
The former president does not live his life in fear.
In New York, Jonathan Kersley, 9 News.
The United Nations top court has ruled Israel must take all measures to prevent genocide against Palestinians in Gaza, saying the humanitarian situation in the Strip is catastrophic, but it fell short of ordering a ceasefire.
As 16 judges took their seats in the packed Netherlands courtroom, pro-Palestinian demonstrators outside delivered their verdict. Ceasefire now! President of the International Court of Justice said the need for a ruling was urgent.
The court is acutely aware of the extent of the human tragedy that is unfolding in the region and is deeply concerned about the continuing loss of life and human suffering.
The first order, Israel's push to have the case thrown out, was dismissed. But the court also ignored South Africa's call for a ceasefire, instead ruling Israel must take immediate action to prevent genocide in Gaza, to punish any incitement to genocide, and take immediate measures to improve aid. It was welcomed by the Palestinian Authority.
They ruled in favour of humanity and international law.
Israel's leader says his country is already complying with international law, giving no indication of changing strategy.
We will continue to do what is necessary to defend our country and defend our people.
The court didn't deliver a verdict on whether Israel is committing genocide in Gaza. That could be years away. Meantime, 12 employees of UNRWA, the UN's Palestinian Refugee Agency, have been fired and an investigation launched after Israeli authorities claimed they were involved in the October 7 attacks. In London, Brett McLeod, 9 News.
Yemen's Houthi rebels have staged fresh attacks at sea, launching a missile at a US warship and striking a British commercial vessel in the Gulf of Aden. The hit on the Marlin Luanda oil tanker caused a fire in the cargo tank, but there were no injuries reported. The US destroyer shot down the ballistic missile that was fired towards it. A man is fighting for life in hospital after an altercation in Manly caused him to fall and hit his head this morning. He was found injured and unconscious on the Corso, a passerby performing CPR before paramedics arrived. Police are tonight looking for the other person involved. A 41-year-old woman has suffered head and pelvic injuries when she was hit by a car in Newcastle. 2 children aged 11 and 7 escaped unharmed when she was struck in Hamilton South late last night. The 64-year-old driver is assisting police. The Prime Minister has travelled to regional New South Wales on a tax cut charm offensive. But his broken promise continues to haunt the PM, who insists he made the right call.
A firm press on the shovel, moving turf, but doing little to help the Prime Minister dig himself out of a broken promise on tax cuts.
We have made the right decision for the right reasons.
3 days on from his press club announcement on a charm offensive in central west New South Wales as construction begins on a new conservatorium in Orange.
I love music, so I DJ. I haven't done it for a while. I used to do that for charities and for various things.
No beats today, instead forced to spin his amended tax agenda with a hard sell to the regions.
We want the fight against inflation to be front and centre, because the lower your income, the harder it hits you. And that's why inflation has had a disproportionate impact on regional Australia. And that's why this program is so important.
Sounding like a campaign speech, but denying his shifted gears after the opposition called for an early election.
This is a response to Australians being under financial pressure.
Sophie Upcroft, 9 News.
Bondi, Burwood, Quakers Hill and Liverpool. What new testing has revealed about COVID across Sydney? WWE founder Vince McMahon is out after serious allegations. From the Outback to the Northern Beaches, the kids splashing in the ocean for the very first time. And state versus state, plate versus plate. One of these sold for $11 million.
9 News, brought to you by Australia's #1 selling vehicle, Ford Ranger.
The summer surge in COVID cases is finally starting to decline. Sewage data from Bondi, Quakers Hill, Liverpool and Burwood shows transmission is plateauing across Sydney. There was also a reduction in the number of patients going to emergency departments. The areas that reported the largest number of infections so far this year are Western and southwestern Sydney. After being held in Guantanamo Bay for almost 2 decades, 2 Malaysian men have today been sentenced to 23 years in confinement for their involvement in the 2002 Bali bombings. Mohammed Farright bin Amin and Mohammed Nazir bin Lep both pleaded guilty to charges of war crimes last week. Their sentences won't be reduced for time served. However, under the terms of a secret pre-trial agreement, they could be freed by 2029. 202 people died in the attack, including 88 Australians. Founder of the WWE, Vince McMahon, has resigned from his position at the wrestling company. It follows a new lawsuit from a former employee alleging McMahon abused, sexually exploited and trafficked her to other men. Living in Sydney, it's easy to take our coastline for granted. But for a group of students from Outback, New South Wales, the ocean can often feel out of reach. Today, the bush made it to the beach, where a simple swim can have a life-changing impact.
A 14-hour bus trip from Brewarrina and Gadooga, all worth it for this feeling. For many of these 30 Indigenous school students, it's their first time seeing the ocean.
I saw a jellyfish, but it was clear. We come from a river, really flat, no waves, something different.
The annual trip to North Narrabeen isn't just a holiday, it's also an incentive for behaving in class.
Yeah, we have to be good. Oh, if we won't come, sadly.
And once you hit the sand, the world is your oyster, or canvas.
We was drawing turtles last night, and I learned how to draw one, so I'm going to draw one now. I'm making a 6-pack now.
I need one of them. Can you make me one? Keeping the show going, Miss World Australia Kristen Wright, a seasoned diver and founder of the Educate Resuscitate program.
There's something about the water that brings fluidity between all of us, and it's a great way to connect to our roots.
Now in its 19th year, nearly every single kid from these outback towns has had the chance to experience the beach. In fact, it's reaching into the second generation of families, and it's making a massive difference.
A lot of the kids that were original Bush to Beach kids are now working full-time in the council, and they've got other jobs. They work with the Lands Council, and they're just great young Australians.
This day at the beach, an experience of a lifetime. In Narrabeen, James Wilson, 9 News.
Beautiful. King Charles is doing well after undergoing scheduled prostate surgery yesterday. The monarch arrived at the London clinic accompanied by wife Queen Camilla, the same private facility where Princess Kate is recovering from surgery, giving the King a chance to pay his daughter-in-law a visit. Well, there was a state of origin battle of a different kind today when the very first licence plates in New South Wales and Queensland sold at auction. As predicted, it was our state that came out on top. New South Wales won, selling for over $11.5 million and setting a new record. Queensland one went for less than half of that, but it still sold for an impressive $5 million. And in case you were wondering, both are over 100 years old and can still be used on the roads. Sport is next with Danika, and it is finals time at the Australian Open.
Yes, good evening. Jayne is the defending champion against a first-time Grand Slam finalist in the women's tonight. We'll have a full preview next. Plus, an epic comeback sends Daniil Medvedev into the men's final. An almighty upset on the cards as the West Indies build a big lead in the second test. Also, a shock announcement from one of England's biggest Premier League clubs.
The Handyman from hell.
I'm telling you, mate, I've got no idea.
With a killer temper, he murdered his neighbour and almost got away with it.
Are there any signs of life?
I can definitely tell you he's dead. I really hope that the cops catch the son of a...
Gotcha. A current affair Monday.
The Plush January sale ends Sunday with up to 50% off everything. Save up to 50% off everything. She's got the love. Ends Sunday at Plush.
Hungry Jack's Aussie and Tropical Whoppers are here for summer with flame-grilled smoky barbecue beef and juicy pineapple on the Tropical Whopper, or beetroot, crispy bacon and egg on the Aussie Whopper. The burgers are better at Hungry Jack's.
The new Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra with Galaxy AI is here. Score a bonus Galaxy Tab S9 FE worth $949 when you pre-order today on Australia's best mobile network. Find out more in-store or online.
Kind of 50.
What do you reckon?
Kickstart your weight loss goals with new Jumpstart Pro by Light and Easy.
I lost a kilo for the first week and a kilo in the second week, and that was really motivating because I knew it was working.
Jumpstart Pro combines on-the-go high-protein breakfast shakes with your choice of nutritious chef-designed lunches and dinners.
I would recommend Jumpstart Pro as a really great solution for people who want to lose weight. It was really simple.
Light and Easy Jumpstart Pro, your first step to a healthier, happier you.
On now at Domain. Hurry in for big deals on a huge range of Australian-made lounge, dining and outdoor furniture, and get bonus local delivery on purchases over $9.99. Plus 15% off big brand Australian-made candles. Too big to miss at Domain.
At Woolworths, find great value for the Australia Day long weekend. With fresh specials like delicious Australian Cavendish bananas, now just $2.50 a kilo. That's today's fresh food, people.
You might say I'm a bit of an expert when it comes to doubles.
Tennis legend Todd Woodbridge.
Nine's new afternoon double is a game changer. Every weekday, new tipping point will push you to the edge. Then follow straight through to Australia's best news. Your news with Pete at 6. Now that's a perfect double.
Well, the finals have arrived here at the Australian Open. Tonight, Aryna Sabalenka is gunning for back-to-back women's titles against rising star Zheng Qinwen. And Sam Stosur joins me now. Now, Sam, this is quite remarkable. Sabalenka hasn't dropped a single set this tournament. What makes her so tough to beat?
I think at the moment her serve is just on song. We've seen her have some troubles on serve in recent years, but she's really rectified that and she is absolutely smashing them down. Very hard for her opponents to really make gains on those games.
Now, this is Zheng's first Grand Slam final. What's her best chance of a victory?
Well, I think she's got to stay composed. Obviously, she's never been in this situation before, so handle the emotions and the nerves and everything first and foremost, and then go out here and try and put the match on her terms. So, again, she's going to have to serve very well, use her weapon in her forehand, and roll the dice.
Who are you tipping?
I think Sabalenka.
All right, well, we look forward to seeing you in coverage tonight. Thank you. All right, well, Daniil Medvedev produced one of the all-time comebacks to book his place in tomorrow night's men's final, coming from 2 sets down to beat Alexander Zverev in 4 hours and 18 minutes.
Mentally, 100%. I'm stronger than I was before this tournament because now I know that I'm capable of some things maybe I thought I'm not.
Medvedev and his opponent, Jannik Sinner, are both vying to win their first Australian Open titles. Well, the West Indies are eyeing off a shock win as they look to set Australia a huge run chase in the second test at the Gabba. Midway through day 3, the tourists are 4 for 123, leading Australia by 145 runs.
Deemed the best cricketer in the world.
Oh, and he smoked that.
Pat Cummins proving why the captain's career-high 64 not out lifted his country out of a huge hole. The West Indies sent back in 22 runs ahead.
Oh, divine.
That figure swelling to 85 before Cameron Green struck. Struggling skipper Craig Brathwaite gone for 16.
The drive can be your friend. You get it wrong, it's your worst enemy.
Nathan Lyon struck with his second ball of the day.
Lyon comes on and immediately breaks through.
In the last over before tea and out of sorts, Steve Smith couldn't get this to stick.
It was a tough one. It was right down the middle.
Smith looking to the skies for answers, clearly frustrated with a second dropped catch in 2 days. Smith didn't have to wait long to make amends.
Taken. Good catch, gets through. He gets his second. The partnership is broken.
Zach Bailey, 9 News.
Australia's women have won their first T20 against South Africa in Canberra. Beth Mooney scoring 72 as the Aussies chased down the Proteas score of 147 with 8 wickets and 5 balls to spare. The Wanderers have started well as they look to bounce back from last week's surprise loss, leading Western United 1-0 at half-time in Hobart. A 10-man Sydney FC was able to hold undefeated ladder leaders Melbourne Victory to a 1-1 draw away from home. It's the end of an era at Liverpool. Manager Jurgen Klopp announcing he'll quit at the end of the Premier League season after 8 years in charge. Klopp helped end the Reds' 30-year title drought in 2020. Meanwhile, Ange Postecoglou's Tottenham have been knocked out of the FA Cup, defeated 1-0 by Manchester City in the 4th round. And Jakara Anthony has wrapped up the mogul skiing overall World Cup crown with 2 events to go. The Aussie has dominated this season with 9 victories so far, her latest in New Hampshire overnight, securing her first Crystal Globe trophy. What a remarkable effort. But Jane, so much to look forward to tonight. The crowd, they are streaming in behind me, and we'll have all the coverage right after the news from 6:30.
It is going to be a big weekend, Danika. Thank you. Coming up this evening, Kate Creedon with your weather forecast.
Good evening. It was a cool, grey and drizzly day. A misty rain moving across the suburbs this morning, but less than a millimetre was recorded in most places after yesterday's heat. Good evening. It was a cool, grey and drizzly day. A misty rain moving across the suburbs this morning, but less than a millimetre was recorded in most places after yesterday's heat. Today was our coldest day of the year so far. It only got to 24 degrees at the airport, 16 degrees cooler than yesterday's maximum. A very moist and unstable air mass north of a trough delivered heavy rain to parts of the northern rivers and mid-north coast this afternoon. Kempsey picked up 30 millimetres of rain, while around 17 millimetres fell at Port Macquarie. Residents of eastern Queensland sweltered through their hottest night in years thanks to ex-tropical cyclone Kirrily funneling hot and humid northeasterly winds over the state. Tomorrow, troughs and lows will generate showers and storms over the Sunshine State as well as northeast New South Wales. Brisbane can expect some showers, 30 degrees tomorrow, partly cloudy in Canberra, 28, cloud clearing to a mostly sunny afternoon in Melbourne ahead of the men's final of the Australian Open, 24 degrees forecast at this stage. As I mentioned, the state's north could get more rain tomorrow, but it will remain warm. A heatwave warning in place for the northern rivers, mid-north coast and Hunter. Newcastle will be cloudy with the chance of a shower or two, 29 degrees. We could get a bit of everything here in Sydney tomorrow. After a mostly sunny morning, the clouds should return with the possibility of late showers. Temperatures will be closer to average. The city forecast to reach 27 degrees. It should be a sunny start to your Sunday in our west too. Most suburbs are expected to climb into the high 20s, 30 forecast for Penrith, 25 in Cronulla. Looking ahead, we could get an early shower on Monday, 28 degrees, a shower or two on Tuesday and Wednesday too. Temperatures in the high 20s for most of the week. We can expect a few light showers in our west too next week. The heaviest falls likely on Wednesday, when we could get up to 5 millimetres of rain. But the good news is it looks like the skies will clear just in time for the kids to head back to school. Jane?
Good to hear, Kate. Thank you. That is 9 News for this Saturday. The Australian Open Women's Finals match is up next. I'm Jayne Azzopardi. Thank you for your company. I'll see you tomorrow morning for Weekend Today. But for now, it's good night.